What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Oshay Duke Jackson, back at it again for this memorial service. I want to thank all of you for just supporting our brother Kevin Samuels at this particular time. I want to give a big shout out to Dennis Spurling, his family, all of the brothers that was close to him, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, the lead attorney, Obsidian Network, the Black Manosphere community, the Black YouTube community, and most of all, you, the fans and the subscribers, and those of you who were impacted by his work in a positive way. I really, really salute all of you. But today we are here not to necessarily be so sad about today's memorial service, because Kevin was just upbeat person. He would always call me and be like, "Hey man, got a new idea." And y'all know me, it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in Africa. I'd be like, "Bro, do you know what time it is?" "Sorry about that, man. But back to the idea I had." He was just that type of guy. And I think going forward, that's what he would like. I mean, he would like us to remember him in his great ways, his great communication skills, how he impacted Black America, and how he's changed the game forever for men and women with relationships. And kind of going forward in this conversation for the introduction, I want to talk to the Black America right now, because many of us are from Black America. His fan base reached out to people in all parts of the world, people from Russia, people from Ethiopia, people in Europe. But for the Black American community, I mean, my God, Kevin showed us what it meant to collaborate with one another. And I think for many of us, before meeting him, we thought that there was a limit on what we can do. Shout out to the Style OG. He talked about that with Kevin. Even Kevin, that there was a limit on what we can achieve. But we saw the impact of what our community can be us working together, right? By just really looking at what we have and making it bigger. And that is really how I came in contact with Kevin Samuels in 2017. He saw somebody like me wasn't doing so well on YouTube, and he saw a group of Black men talking about the issues of the day. He wanted to be a part of the conversation, and he had ideas bigger than what we had. And by just working together and getting us into different situations, networking, trusting that you can be effective with your own people, got us here today. And even in this passing, that still lives on. But let me talk a little bit more about Kevin before we kind of get into the service today. Kevin was what I consider a charismatic visionary. Nothing was too big. And for those of us who come from the inner cities, he was from Oklahoma City. I believe that he grew up in a house full of young ladies. His dreams didn't die in 1983 when he graduated high school. And his dreams didn't die once University of Oklahoma days was over. His dreams didn't die at any particular age. When I met Kevin Samuels, he was 52. Many people at that time have already given up on life. They feel like they're too old, and things have passed by, and then they die. But with Kevin, man, if you can think it, you can do it. Because we wouldn't be talking about him today if we didn't feel like that, if he didn't feel like that. And that is just so important. I really want to take this opportunity to, while some of us are still looking for streams, we're still looking for some entertainment value and the education value. I want you guys to take away from our brother's life. And I'll give my own testimony later on in the show, and I'll say from that. Because funerals are, memorial services, it's much about the living as it is about the deceased person. I want you, especially if you are a man, a Black man in America or anywhere in the world, your dreams never die. I don't care how old you are. You're 60, you're 70, you're 80, you're 90. Doesn't matter where you're from. Who would think that a young Black man in the 80s that had a jerry curl would change the scope of how we look at Black relationships from Oklahoma City? You see, sometimes you need to go ahead and go to the next level. You might need to move to another city. You might need to get around the right people, but you got to have the right mindset. And I want to let everybody know that you are your own destiny. You can do what you want to do. Nobody's stopping you. It's not white supremacy stopping you. It's not the black woman that's stopping you. You're the one that's stopping you. And I want you guys to look in your inner Kevin. Look at your community. Look at what you can do to impact it. Look at the friends you're hanging around. Be the changes that you want to see. Propel yourself in your group or your gender, whatever you want to do in life, to the top. And I don't want to take up too much time, but I do want to thank you guys for being here. I do want to thank you guys for showing us love today. We're going to have a really great stream. We're going to have a lot of people in testifying about the life of Samuel's life, and also from people on his YouTube, social media, and business life. And again, guys, I want you to stay upbeat. I don't want you to cry today. I want you to remember our brother for who he was and what he meant to you. And with that being said, I'll turn it back over to Dennis, and let's get into the service.
What's up, you guys? This is Dennis Sperling. I'd like to thank everybody for being here today. Hit the KS button in memory of Kevin Samuels. I want you all to know that our very special guest is watching today, and our very special guest is very appreciative of all the love that she's received. All of the people who have stepped up and said wonderful things about her son. We appreciate you guys. So hit the KS button, man, in memory of Kevin Samuels. I want to go ahead and bring in one of the originators, one of the thought leaders of the Manosphere, someone who really needs no introduction, somebody who actually got me interested in the Manosphere before I even knew him, a man who really needs no introduction. I'm going to go ahead and turn the turn the channel over to Mr. BGS Ibmore. So without further ado, welcome BGS Ibmore. Thank you. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. I've said this many times, and people say you always give people flowers before they go. And many, many times I have humbly thanked Kevin for what he's done for me. Okay. He was introduced to me by Oshay, and I used to have this thing called the Coliseum. It was like a Saturday night hangout. We'd be there for 8, 9, 10 hours just hashing over ideas. And there was a divide between what they call the educated guys, upscale educated corporate guys, and the regular working class guys. And Sergeant Willie Pete had dubbed these guys educated lames. And I called these guys my diamonds in the rough. And this disparity had been going on for like 2 or 3 years. And when I met Kevin, I know Kevin, his style and his image and his personality and his corporate sense could take these guys to the next level. So I said, hey, Kevin, man, I said, man, do me a favor, man. I got these guys, they're educated, they make a lot of money, they're unpolished, but they want to get better with the opposite sex because, in the manosphere, it's all about improving ourselves and improving ourselves not only with, for ourselves, but also for the opposite sex, to have relationships. I said, hey, man, I think you're the perfect person to have to come in and give these guys a sense of style and give them what they're missing. In other words, all these diamonds in the rough need to be polished. And I say, I think you are the polisher. I think you're the perfect person to do it. And we talked about it, and he says, you know what? Let me give it a shot. And, when somebody takes your mission on, you think, okay, they'll do a little bit and they'll help out a little bit. But Kevin took this mission of mine to heart. He actually dug in. He said, I took extra classes. I talked to these guys. I got in, talked to psychiatrists and psychologists. And so now I'm ready to give these guys what they need. And for 2 or 3 years, man, he was a tough taskmaster. He was a tough coach. But he eventually turned these guys that were called educated lames, that were looked down upon, especially in the manosphere, into what we can now call high value men. The most sought after men in the black manosphere, the most sought after men in the country. And he took my mission, my little project, made it his mission and made it a success. And he took it way beyond what I thought it would be, way beyond what I thought it would be. And then 2019, right before COVID, he said, man, these guys they're polished up. I've got them coached up and polished up, and I've got them improved. They've improved themselves. They improved their style. They improved their business. They're making more money, and they're looking for relationships, but they can't find women to match them. So he said, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start working with the women. So, you know, you could see by his set, he changed his set. He changed the way he dressed. He made his set inviting to the women, you know, because it's kind of it's an off take of what I did with Be Just for Women. But the thing is, I don't have Kevin's style. I don't have his perfectionist. I don't have his, you know, his ease with women like he does, right? So he was a perfect avatar for this. And and just so happened, you know, what they say, preparation and hard work, when it meets opportunity, they call that luck, right? COVID happened. Okay, the economy went down. Women were looking for men to marry, men to couple with, men that were successful that could actually help them out, right? Basically give them a lifestyle because times are tough, right? Walked right into it, right? I said, Kevin, I said, they're looking for your guys, okay? They're looking for your guys. They need to be coached up because they haven't really learned what men of that ilk need. I said, you're the perfect person to actually teach these women. So what you did for the men, now you have to do for the women. And what he did for the men, which is tell them the honest, cold truth, give them good strategies, coach them up, and be tough. He was the same way with the women. And surprisingly enough, the women actually took it. They came back night after night after night after night to hear what he had to say. And it was so successful, it blew up. It blew up to what we call the icon Kevin Samuels. The thing is, nobody actually thought about the 18, 20 hours a day he was working, man, years before this actually happened, right? Or the 3 years he spent coaching the men up to get them to be high value so that the women would want them. So there would be a prize. And the women came in after, and after that, you know, everybody knows the story, right? Average at Best, the Breakfast Club, uh, Brittany Renner, Nicki Minaj, all that stuff came after. But the thing is, nobody knows about the hard work that he did before to actually come in, to actually be in the place at the right time for this to happen. And I always told him, I said, Kevin, for what you've done for me, just for me, you can never make too much money. I don't care if you're a billionaire, you can never make too much money for what you've done for me. And like I said, I've never got a dime, but the people that he helped, that were my guys, my mission that he took on, and he made it such a success that it spread worldwide. I could have never in my whole life imagined that this would happen, that it would happen this way. And to make a quote from The Dark Knight, okay, that I always use, right? Uh, when he says, sometimes the truth isn't good enough, right? And sometimes people need more. And sometimes people need to have their faith rewarded. And that was me, this gift to Kevin, okay? The money, success, the fame that he all enjoyed. And I always say, Kevin, man, I wish that you could have had old man money and be on a beach someplace with Dennis, with drinking a pina colada with the umbrella drink, enjoying your money and just looking back on your accomplishments. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, man. I know he enjoyed the ride, but I wish he could have enjoyed the success after the ride was over. And that was my hope for him. It didn't happen, but the thing is, he got to check off his boxes. He got to experience his mission. He got to get some of his rewards, some of his flowers while he was alive, man. I always say I don't believe in a poor righteous teacher. I believe that you should get rewarded for the work that you put in and the effort that you put in. And people don't know how much work Kevin put in and how much Kevin even cared before he got $1. And that's the secret about Kevin. People say, oh, he's just a businessman. He took advantage of the situation. No, Kevin cared. He cared about the guys he was coaching. He cared about the women that he was involved with. People don't know how many times Kevin counseled people for free offline, or how many people he affected that he helped. The whole, sometimes, man, Kevin would, he would get in contact with me, man, and say, hey, man, all these people are coming at me. People are disparaging me. Hey, man, all I'm trying to do is push the black men forward, push black men's image forward, so that we can be better people, we can be better men, and we can have a happier life. And I tell him, I said, Kevin, you can't take the whole black race and put it on your back, man. You can only do your part. Okay, these are the guys that you've been tasked with. These are the mission that I've given you. Concentrate on your mission. Concentrate on helping the people that you've been tasked with, because your message is not always for everybody, and that's what people took offense to. His message was not always for everybody, and people didn't understand what he's trying to say. He didn't look down on the common man. He said, "My mission is for these group of men and women. If it can help you, it can help you. The thing is, don't take offense to the message that I'm giving." And oddly enough, oddly enough, fortune struck, and basically, he basically lifted the whole black manosphere on his back and out into the public sphere, made it famous, made the talking points and our ideas that we had been bubbling up in a cauldron, for in hidden for 15 years. He actually brought it out into the light, brought it out into the public domain, to where now it's almost commonplace. So for Kevin, man, like I said, in my ode to him, okay, man, I hope that you're someplace on a beach, up in heaven, man, with your drink, whatever it is, on your lounge, man, and looking at your accomplishment and looking at your checklist, man, and hope that you got it all checked off, man. Say, you know what? I didn't get to enjoy everything, but guess what? Everything that I have wanted to accomplish, man, all the check boxes are all checked. My list is all done, and I can say, you know what? I did a good job. I did a great job. I did the best with what I had. And I hope, if he's looking down, if you can hear me, Kevin, I can't thank you enough. I will never be able to be grateful enough to you and what you've done for me, and also my guys, and also the whole black manosphere. Okay, we'll always remember you. All right, then I'm gonna give it back to Dennis.
Thank you very much, BGS Ivmore. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Oshay Duke Jackson.
This is Judge Joe Brown, and it saddens me greatly that Kevin Samuels has left us so early in his life, and I extend my condolences to family, friends, and associates. I mark myself privileged to have had the opportunity to have interviewed him at some length. While some have forgotten that it was once a given that wrong and inappropriate conduct would be chastised, Kevin Samuels did not, and he did that when it was necessary, yet he encouraged people when it was helpful and appropriate to do so. Our pulpit preachers once did this, but it seems the art of denouncing sin and wrongdoing has been forgotten. It develops that we have gotten into a mindset where anything that might be imagined, even in a fever dream or while under the influence of something, has become appropriate. That is not something that should be the case, because that pathway leads to ruination and destruction. The deceased was a voice in the wilderness of sinfulness and wrong-headedness. He was a guiding light to mark the perils of licentiousness. We need more like him. We must hope that his clarion calls for decency, accountability, morality, ethics, duty, honor, purpose, and responsibility echo far into the future. Samuels constantly reminded us that it is never inappropriate, even if sometimes impolitic or unpopular, to correct incorrectness and demand behavior that does not work as an impediment to dignity, order, and public peace. We owe a debt of gratitude to this man. We and our posterity both needed and still need to hear his words of guidance and propriety. Thank you, Brother Samuels, for marking the trail toward redemption and success. Rest in power and peace, sir.
We'd like to thank Judge Joe Brown for that wonderful message to his family. I know his mother is watching and she greatly appreciates that. But at this time, we'd like to introduce Oshay Duke Jackson, the heartbeat of the Manosphere. Hey, Oshay, the floor is yours. Oshay, I think we're having some sound problems with you. If you can hit the KS button if you can hear me.
What about now? What about now? Can you hear me now?
There we go. Thank you so much.
Right.
And Oshay is going to tell us about how he brought Kevin Samuels into the Manosphere, which is a very interesting story. Oshay, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. I'll be brief. So the Black Manosphere community was started by, I would say, 3 people, and one of them will be here today. And I was at that time the last kind of guy on the totem pole. There was Obsidian, the Angry Man channel, and myself. But my job in the process of what we know now as Black Manosphere 2.0 was to kind of go out and find people that had different skills than we did. So at this particular time, the culture in Black YouTube, because there was no real super chats or anything like that at this time, it started around 2018. However, I met Kevin in 2017. So Kevin was in a whole nother community on YouTube that revolved around fragrances and perfumes and style. So if you can say he was a Black man that was probably one of the few that was doing this in a more of a white dominated genre. But the Black Manosphere had a lot of organic discussions about what the everyday Black man was going through, men who grew up, single parent homes and things like that. And so one day, Kevin Samuels came in, and I saw his comment, and it was Kevin Samuels, image consultant. That was his name on YouTube at the time. So I realized, I said, well, it's an interesting name, and which is kind of similar to how I met the lead attorney or Pocket Watching JT. When I see somebody has a particular skill set in their name, I'm very interested. So it wanted me to go find out more about who he was. And so I went to his YouTube channel, and I knew that that he was indeed shooting these pre-recorded style videos. And although I'm not really a fashion guy, as you guys know, I'm quite dusty. I noticed that he had a particular skill to offer us that we didn't have. So Kevin was the awesome networker, collaborator, and so I emailed him. I told him to email me. He did, and then we talked, and then we have that first episode. The first episode of Kevin Samuels was on my other channel. It was called "Dress to Impress," and so quite shortly after that time, Kevin Samuel started to make his rounds through the rest of the Black Manosphere. We're much bigger and robust community now than at that time. So he was collaborating with BGS and more, and people like that. But Kevin Samuels, from the beginning, he was very astute and he was very fastidious, and he paid attention to a lot of detail. And he would call us and he would say, "Hey, I'm seeing the influential guys doing this, and I think that us, we need to have this. We need to have a talent agency. We need to have these things." And Kevin's ideas were so big, and he was a new guy, and guys kind of, when you're a new guy and you come in with this sort of excitement, you kind of brush this guy off, right? And but those ideas kept logistically growing, and you could look at his channel, and you can see that he was trying new things. He was trying new concepts. And what made Kevin so important, it's 2 things that I can think about. One, Kevin Samuels was not a YouTuber. He was a real life person and a real networker that just happened to be on YouTube. And so what you would see with Kevin is he was going out meeting people. He was going out, going to conferences. Even some of the photos that people roasted him for, he was going to the, Kappa conferences. He was a very ambitious man, overly ambitious. And a lot of things here on YouTube, when you start to get successful, a lot of guys like to stay in the comfort of their own homes and make a lot of money. But Kevin was just as eager to meet you in person, from what I can see, than he was on YouTube. And then not only that, Kevin was fastidious. He paid attention to detail. All of us who are on YouTube will tell you that Kevin watched everybody. He watched everything, the negative and the good stuff about him, and he looked at strategy, and he wanted to understand how things work. And that's one thing I will focus on in my remaining short time, because I don't want to hold up the service. But his fastidious attention to detail was very constitutive. It was all the time. His mind was always on little nuances and details, and he would call and share that with you. And he would look at what you have, and he would call you and say, "Hey man, I noticed you changed this up in the video, or you changed that up in the video, and I see this process, and I have these things." I've never met somebody who watched other people and try to combine several things together. Shout out to Melanie King, because we talked about that the other night. But Kevin was like that. He took a little bit from the fashion sector, from the Black Manosphere, from the heart of the Black church, and he combined it at the right time at 10 p.m. at night. He did that show for a whole year, Monday through Friday, and he gave us something that was new. He gave us something that was well thought out, and it was well executed. And I think that if I were really to remember Kevin from anything on this side of the business, and I've said a lot of things about him personally on my other videos, you can watch those. But Kevin was he was about execution and paying attention to detail. And he's done something in the world. I talked to Dennis today. You have people in Australia saying that Kevin would have sold out a stadium. And I think for us as African-American men, as Black men, I think that now we have even more confidence to understand that if we pay attention to the issues that are going on, or the problems that are going on, whether it's in the business world, whether it's anything in the health world, or anything in the entrepreneurship world, those things can be solved, and color is not what's stopping you. So I don't want to hold the program up. I want to thank Attorney Dennis Sperling for organizing such an event. I thank all of you who have come to support him. And I want you to remember this side of him that you may not know, which is the analytical, fastidious, and the execution of a man like Kevin Samuels. Thank you so much. Have a goddamn, and God bless you.
We like to thank Oshay Duke Jackson. Thank you so much, Oshay, for those heartfelt. And on behalf of the family, thank you for all the help that you provided. I know that his mother is watching, his daughter is watching, his whole family is watching. And so we want to just make sure we acknowledge Oshay Duke Jackson. But thank you so much. Next up, we have another man who needs no introduction. I am sure people who don't follow YouTube are like, how are these people so famous? What have we been missing out on? And that's what Kevin Samuels did. He brought what was once a dark corner of YouTube, the manosphere, and he pushed it into the mainstream. But nevertheless, one of our most talented, I guess, online personalities, MTR, also known as Mediocre Tutorials. Thank you so much. And he is going to tell us about Kevin Samuels' future plans. Thank you so much, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dennis. And thank you to everybody for being here today. You know, I really can't believe that that this is happening at where it is right now. But, you know, we just got to move forward. So within that, Kevin would always used to call me and have these big, huge ideas. And I wanted to share some of these ideas with you about the future state. And we often have these conversations. And I always felt it difficult to try to consolidate all of the things that he was saying, because his ideas were so big. His ideas were so vast. But here's what I knew, is that within a couple of close conversations with Kevin, I began to really understand how much of a thought leader that he was, how brilliant of a man that he was. See, YouTube was just the beginning. IG, Instagram was just the beginning. But he was planning to leverage these platforms to create something much, much bigger. But his goal first was to prove that the problems that he talked about on his live streams were real, and that the audience understood the issues, and wanted to go and embark on this journey of solutioning with him, right? So one of the things that I would tell Kevin is like, hey, listen, man, if you just stopped what you were doing for a little while and just came up with a suit line, it would go completely through the moon. That'd be your retirement plan. You wouldn't have the live stream as much. But Kevin was absolutely addicted to the work because he loved it so much, because he understood the impact that it was going to make on our culture. Not even just that, but the world. And, you know, even though he undoubtedly it would have been a success, he wanted to maintain true to speaking about these issues that affected our culture and trying to provide a solution, right, of how to circumvent it, right? One of the most ambitious ideas that he had, and I talk with him about this often because I've talked about it kind of separately on my platform as well, is how do we take back control of the image of the Black man in America? Okay. So simply put, right, he was on a mission to make hardworking, awesome, dope, well-dressed, intelligent, and successful the absolute new standard. And he was going to do it by image first, right? While continuing to distance from the more nefarious portions of our culture that typically in mainstream media gets the most amount of attention, right? So, because we often joked about, you know, like the word lame, like I think I heard BGS Ibmore refer to that back in the beginning. In our culture and understanding that, wait, why is lame considered smart, disciplined, consistent, hardworking, intelligent, everything like that above? And what can we do in order to transition the image where that was the normal, where that was the average, especially considering that the image of that is going to determine what success looks like for each and every one of us. See, we recognize that within the space, the forgotten market, or the one that is not represented or represented by us, is that market, the Black suburban man, or even like the Black upper class man as well. And if components or portions of our media continue to highlight the more negative portions of it, and we don't have control of it, then we will still be governed by a place where those that are non-melanated will look at us with that negative image and portrayal, and those even within our culture will look at us within that same portrayal as well. So it was something that we talked about often in order to be able to tackle, and we wanted to utilize visual media, visual entertainment, whatever you want to call it, in order to be able to do that. Right. So you take a look back at, you know, trip and the pictures that, you know, we saw flashed up a little bit earlier back into Brooklyn, initiating with Dennis Sperling, TLA, right, in order to be able to try to, you know, begin to build the brain trust of how we can start to do that, right, to initiate that going into the future. All right. So I'm gonna share a couple of other quick things that, you know, Kevin would throw around, and just so you guys all know as well. All right. So, you know, most of you guys were already familiar as well with some of the focus groups that he was conducting, right? And, you know, shout out to Oshay just a little bit earlier, was talking about, you know, how fastidious that he was, but you know, how much of a researcher that he was. And really, you know, the plan of that, which he planned on continuing, was continue to gather information, data, to continue to research the opportunities that both the modern man and the modern woman today, to continue to glean insights, to provide more content into the type of discussions that he was having for things that he had not yet tackled yet, right? And also too, and this is one thing that, you know, was a blessing within my life, and having Kevin within it for the time that it was, is that one thing he said is like, listen, we got to get up outside of the camera and begin to have these conversations. So I also know going into the future, he planned on having these events. So, you know, imagine having an event, and, you know, let's say that the topic of the event was like, you know, becoming married, right? And you fill out an application and you send that in. And then of that application, if you're selected, both men and women would be invited to a conference of some sort within this event, all day of workshops, the opportunity to meet one another, meet him, meet other special guests, you know, that he would invite in. And it was a place to really kind of solve a lot of the issues that he would bring up from a content perspective on his channel, right? One of the other, you know, ideas that we did talk about as well was specific to, you know, making sure that our perspectives of dating and within the culture was not just predicated specific to where we are at, but the thought of kind of traveling, you know, internationally to conduct podcasts as well, not even just from country to country, but to go across the pond and even further beyond that in order to kind of conduct these conversations, so we can get much more of a global perspective of the issues between, the, modern man, modern woman, maybe even the Eastern and the Western as well, right? So his mind was constantly spinning. It was constantly turning. And I count myself as blessed to be in the ear or the area as he was coming up and conjuring all of these different types of amazing and awesome ideas. All right. So I'm going to turn over. I wanted to keep it real brief, real short, but rest well, Kevin. Keep on watching over us. All right. I think we have TLA next up to chat.
Thank you so much, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. Now, before we bring on this next gentleman, I want to make sure you all who are new to the Manosphere, maybe you just become a Kevin Samuels fan. You thought he was the only one like him. Well, let me tell you, we have some brilliant men and women, but some brilliant men here in the Manosphere. I want to acknowledge Dr. Tiasan Johnson, Dr. Ronald Neal, and the Green Gorilla, the G with the PhD. But the one leading the pack, as far as I'm concerned, the guy that I call when I'm having baby mama issues, my child support needs to be reduced. My favorite lawyer, and I'm a lawyer telling you, this is my favorite lawyer in the Manosphere, the lead attorney, man. Welcome back. You're going to talk to us about a very tough subject. I gave you the toughest argument on the panel. You got to tell us what he meant to us.
Yes.
Attorney, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Yes, you tasked me with explaining a little bit about what impact that he had on us, and then you asked me to do it in 4 minutes. So that's going to be a little difficult, but I will do it. I will do it. And it's good that you gave me a time limit, because if not, I would long struck you guys to death. There's so much to talk about, but considering the time constraint, I will tell you guys one thing that that Kevin showed us, and he always used to say it. Your network is your net worth, right? And it's true, and it's something that he showed in his own life. This was not just some guy preaching. I mean, he absolutely walked the walk. He had 1 million followers on Instagram and then 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Just one of those alone is a humongous feat. And so to get both of those coming from where he did in this space is amazing. And he tried to instill that into us, and he was doing it. MTR talked about the focus groups that he was doing. He had invited me down to start attending those, because we're both down here in Atlanta. He was focused on bringing communities together. He had his Patreon groups. He had so many events and so many ways to really unite people, to bring people's networks together. And he did this with us, with Dennis, with MTR, with me, with other content creators. If you're not a YouTuber, you might not realize that being a YouTuber can be a pretty solitary affair. Most of the time, we're just in our homes or our studios with a camera. And even though we can be talking to, 500 people on a live stream, or 2,000 or 10,000 people on a live stream, it's really just us in our homes with this camera and this tripod. And it's a pretty solitary existence being a YouTuber a lot of times. And Kevin didn't like that. And he would reach out to other content creators. He would give advice, or he would call to talk about business opportunities. He was always trying to link up with content creators. And that's huge, because again, you can just kind of be on your island, even if you have a channel of significant following. You can absolutely just kind of be by yourself with a channel of 50,000 or 100,000 subscribers, and you haven't met anyone. And Kevin fought against that. He would talk to all of us individually. I know for me, he would call me on the phone. Sometimes it'd be 30 minutes. Sometimes he'd be talking to me for an hour or an hour and a half. You never knew how long it was going to be. but the wisdom that he would tell me, and I'm sure the wisdom that he would impart on the other brothers, on the other content creators as well, it's just amazing. He had invited me to collaborate with him in Miami. I had never been to Miami before. When I was in Miami, I actually met a subscriber down there. He saw I had posted on IG, so I was able to take a subscriber to dinner, which was huge for me because I had never even met a subscriber. And here, I might have had 100,000. I might have had 100,000 subscribers at that point, and never met one subscriber, because again, this can be super solitary. And so Kevin was able to get a lot of us out of our shells. He planned a trip with Dennis and MTR and me to meet another YouTuber who has over 5 million subscribers. I mean, to talk to that man was just an eye-opening experience. But again, this is Kevin trying to formalize and create networks, right? Create resources, create relationships. And he was great at it. And actually, talking about that, just going up and meeting MTR, meeting Dennis, fellow brothers, successful YouTubers. These are things that no one else was really putting together. No one, and certainly no one on the extent that Kevin was doing it. The way that he was able to bring people together, content creators, regular people together, and to foment those relationships, those networks, was amazing. He used to always say that he couldn't do it by himself. He had asked Dennis and MTR and me to get together, maybe some names of other brothers, maybe 5 to 10 names of other brothers who could help with his endeavors. He had such huge plans, humongous plans. So I know my time is getting short, but I just do want to let you guys know that he was so focused on bringing people together, bringing men and women together in terms of community and marriage, bringing content creators together, just building up networks. And that was a huge message that he had. And it's going to keep going. I saw something from a brother who is a well-known content creator. I saw a video of his just yesterday. I didn't like it. And before, I just would have said, oh, well, yeah, I just don't like it, but that's fine. Right. But thinking about how Kevin does things, I actually hit this brother up on IG and I said, hey, I saw this video and I didn't care for it for this, and this reason. And he wrote me right back and he was like, man, and it was weird for me to even say that because I prefaced it by saying, I know you didn't ask for my opinion. All right. But he wrote me right back and he said, listen, please tell me anything that you see about my content. I totally agree with you. And this is going to be addressed. And I appreciate you telling me that. And this is something that Kevin would do. I got this from Kevin, just saying, hey, put another set of eyes on it. Right. And it really helps. And this is a network, right? That we're building. This is, we're all in this together. When I did that collab, and just to kind of close it out, when I did that collab with Kevin in Miami, he took, for the thumbnail, he took a photo of me and him sitting at a table, and he captioned it with 2 words. And those 2 words were, it continues. And what I'm telling you today is that he's absolutely right. It does continue. His message will continue. So with that, I will give it back to Dennis.
Thank you guys, everybody. Make sure you hit TLA in the chat room. Thank you so much, lead attorney. What I want you guys to do is just sit back, and now you're going to get to experience what I saw early on in my years. That is all of these brilliant men coming together, answering questions. What YouTube has provided is an outlet for brilliant minds like these that you've heard and that you've seen to come together and speak on issues. So now, and I guess we'll start off with BGS, as one of the forerunners of what we now know as the Manosphere. And everybody, please chime in. What's Manosphere going forward? What's going to happen now? And anybody, the floor is yours, you guys.
Well, you get people got what we thought was impossible, which is the Black Manosphere, the Manosphere to become mainstream. Okay, that's the gift that Kevin gave us back 2 years ago. And people, at the time, people were actually afraid of it. Oh, what's going to happen? We're going to get attacked. We're going to get this or that if we go mainstream. And maybe this is not a good thing, right? But the thing is, now that 2 years on, now that we're comfortable with it, now that high schoolers are watching our videos and taking our messages and considering the thoughts and theories that we have, the thing is not to lose momentum. And I think I did a video called Next Man Up. Okay. And that's the whole thing. This is Kevin might have been the vanguard. He might have been the avatar, right? He might have been our Joan of Arc, so to speak, right? But thing is that Kevin had an army behind him, and Kevin, all these thoughts and ideas and theories weren't just Kevin's, right? Kevin was the avatar for them. Okay. Now that they're mainstream, we don't have one Kevin. We got, like I said, we got 3 Kevins right there, right? Got 3 Kevins right here. Just the next man up. In the military, they say that the general in top position, they train 2 or 3 positions down, right? So if the general falls, next man up. This is a conveyor belt. This is a factory, right? And if one piece gets taken out, the next person fills in, or the next 5 people fill in. One person cannot fill Kevin's shoes, right? One person cannot fill Kevin's shoes. One person cannot do what he does, but 5 can, 10 can, 50 can, 100 can, right? Everybody's going to have to take up the mantle and do their part. Okay, you just can't fall on your shield, take a knee, and just waste away. Okay, you gotta. Just like when Tony Stark died, right? In the Avengers Endgame, everybody took a knee. But once they got off their knees, that's what they did. They all banded together and did their jobs. And that's what we're going to have to do. We cannot let the momentum die. And that's what I said, in videos. Kevin got the ball rolling. He broke through the glass ceiling. We're spreading out, like hordes all over all over the mainstream. We're out of the manosphere. We're in the mainstream. We're in popular media. We're in the colleges. We're in the halls of power, right? And what is the message that we want to carry to the halls of power? We want vindication. We want equity. We want justice, and we want our share for Black men. That was the whole thing about Kevin. This whole thing about the manosphere, even the broader manosphere. We want equity for men that we've been trying to get for the last 60 years. And now that we have this momentum, we can't let this moment pass. Okay, brother, Kevin did his job, right? So he passed the baton, right? What happens in a relay race, right? You try to improve upon what he did. Okay, so all it is next man up. Okay, I see the seeds that have been planted. We fertilize the ground. Time to grow the crops. Next man up.
Yeah, and I can chime in as well. I really appreciate your words, BGS. I want to add just a bit of sprinkle on top of that, because I know I've been looking down in my comment section when I decided to look at my comments. One of the themes that I'm seeing up there is you got next up, and I know all the content creators up here have been receiving the same type of message. And here's the thing is that Kevin was so unique in the way that he thought, in the way that he sold his thoughts, in the amount of research that he did. The idea that he would travel around from city to city, right, learning and then conveying what he learned from where he was at and then would just, you know, make that into an entire show that was so relevant. It was so poignant. It's incredible. So I say all that to say is that Kevin was super unique. And because of that uniqueness and that brilliance, he was able to take that and take it to the next level. I think all of us have our unique talents. All of us have our unique gifts. But I think really, in order to kind of continue with the message and affirming and supporting men, has to come from each and every one of us. It's not just the content creators up here as well. It comes from each and every one of us. If you listen to Kevin's words, then a little bit of Kevin is in each and every one of you. So I would challenge not even just the content creators to continue to keep his work alive, his legacy alive, but I would challenge each and every person that's watching the stream. What are you doing in your day-to-day lives to make sure that the things that you learned from Kevin are being kept alive?
All right. Anybody else? Oshay, I guess Oshay stepped off for a minute. I know this. You know, I'm definitely pretty hard headed, and it took me a while to kind of figure out that what Kevin was talking about was real. I come from a traditional business. My father was a lawyer. His wife was a lawyer. My godmother's a lawyer. My son is going to law school. My fiance is going to law school. So I come from a brick and mortar style business. The idea that I could come on YouTube and actually make money, it was never something I truly considered. It wasn't until, as the gentleman mentioned, we went to New York and I saw the potential of making hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, I'm probably not going to get out of my bed if you say, oh, we can make a couple $100,000. But when you start talking about, or even $1 million, I'm not going to change my life that much because I realize once you get it, it's really not that much. The most important thing is family, in my opinion. And I've learned that because there's been times when I've been super sick with hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank and cars, 4 or 5 cars outside, and didn't want to go anywhere. Listening to you guys, lead attorney, MTR, especially BGS, who is a person who I listened to early on, has helped heal me, you know, from a lot of the issues that I was dealing with, whether it be depression, whether it be divorce, not able to see my children as often as I want because of being abiding by custody agreements and whatnot. And having this camaraderie, having these other men who I may have never met, but I know them by their personality to listen to, had brought me great comfort over the years. And I think that's the essence of the manosphere at large. And then to have other Black men who understand your unique experience in the United States has been a tremendous help for my own development and growth. And I hope that moving forward, that we don't make just moves just about money. I hope we continue to remember it is the essence of Black men and men in general, but specifically Black men being able to come together and speak on issues that concern us without being shamed, without being made feel guilty, and be able to speak freely. I think that's something that's very important, and we should keep that at the center moving forward. Yeah. All right. Well, Oshay, I don't know if you're there, Oshay. BGS, would you like anybody have anything else they want to add? I'd love to hear anybody else who wants to talk, and if not, we'll go on to the next segment.
You know, it's. I'll just say something really briefly, man. It's like, um, you know, money's cool, and I always say, I told Kevin early on, I don't believe in poor righteous teachers. Never did. You should get paid for what you do. You should get paid well for your talents. Um, but the thing is, at the end of the day, money is not power. Power is power. And what we're vying for Black men, for men, all men, so it's not just Black men, all
Right.
men, is equity and power. And I think that should be the focus. And money will come. Money always comes.
You know, the thing, BGS, man, like, I kind of feel selfish because, you know, I've been focusing on Black men for the past 2 years here on YouTube, and you know, 5 or 6 years over on Facebook. And now I realize there are so many other men around the world that need to hear this message. And Kevin showed us that there's a need for men around the world to have a voice. And you know, I think I can't do it by myself, but I think we could be the voices of these men around the world who are frustrated, who are overworked, who are not appreciated, whether they be blue collar or white collar. It seems no matter what they do, the goal line is moved another 100 yards ahead. If they become a millionaire, then they're not worth 10 million. If they become a billionaire, they still get divorced and lose $52 billion to their ex-wife. It's never enough. But I think it's time for us, especially those of us here in this section of the Black Manosphere, the educated, high-value men like these men here, to really just expand our message outwards, because I think it's helpful to all. What are your thoughts on that, BGS?
Yeah, I think so. And the thing is that the movement that so far has been a groundswell of common folks, right? And we need people that are like yourselves that are in the position to actually carry the next leg, because um, it can't end just on YouTube. It can't end just on in discussion or having discussions with women. It has to be translated into policy. Like I was just reading an article from 2017, like 20 states are considering 50-50 custody. And in other words, getting rid of the old 200-year-old idea of what we call the 10 years doctrine, right? Where they actually handed over basically the possession of children to women. Okay, give fathers a fair shot, give men a fair shot. All men have been asking for the last 60 years is a fair shot, equity. Give me a fair shot in this system, right? That we haven't gotten. And it's not just black men. We already know what the plight of black men is. We know we're the designated underclass. Okay, that is what it is. But the thing is, it also affects white men the same way. I'm sure Lee can tell you. It affects everybody, right? And all men, when they come into court, when they come into this system, especially with marriage and family courts, okay, win or lose, you just want to know that you have a fair shot in this system. And that's all that we're asking for. That's all that the manosphere is asking for. Give us a fair shot. Give us a fair shot in relationships and business and with our families. And Kevin was actually preaching the same thing. We want balance. We want equity. We want rewards for what we do. I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask.
I don't think it is. Well, I want to just thank everybody. Thank you so much, BGS. Thank you, Oshay Duke Jackson. Thank you, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. And thank you, the lead attorney. I appreciate you guys. You guys make sure you check out their channels if you haven't already. Oshay, is there anything else you'd like to add before we go on to the next segment, sir?
I just want to say that you four brothers, I love you. I love what you're doing for our fallen brother. I have hold you guys in a great esteem. I thank everybody for being there for us. You guys are my lifelong friends. I just was teasing the lead attorney on the email today, and so I'm really great to know you brothers. You know, as professional black men, as guys that I've worked with in this business, and I'm so grateful and I'm so honored, bro. It's Dennis. You've been doing a lot of work, taking a lot of hell from these haters behind the scenes. So I thank you for you know, for all that you guys are doing for us. And I really, really appreciate you guys for standing there for our guy. So thank you so much, and God bless everybody. And I appreciate you what you're doing, Dennis, the lead attorney, MCR, the fans, subscribers. Thank all of you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys so much. We're gonna go and bring in the next segment. I want to make sure a big shout out to BGS Ibmore, Oshay Duke Jackson, MTR, and the lead attorney. Right now, we have a very special guest, and we may have an even very, very special guest that comes in behind this. I want to introduce you all to Jeff Liscum. Jeff, if you're available, go ahead and hop back on that screen. I know you were ready earlier. It's good to see you again, man. Jeff and I have talked more in the past week and a half than I've talked to my ex-wife in the past 12 years, Jeff. I mean, and I enjoyed our conversation, Jeff. Oh, just kidding. All right, whatever. Don't give me. They don't like me anyway, so I don't care, man. But For those of you guys who don't know, Jeff Liscum is Kevin's best friend, and he's the person that was, you know, he's the person that behind the scenes has been doing all the heavy lifting to make sure that Kevin's legacy is preserved. And so I just want to give him an opportunity to talk to the fans. And Jeff, the floor is yours, and I'll come back whenever you finish. Okay, brother?
Hey, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate this has been one of the most traumatizing times, I have to say, for myself. I've actually not just lost Kevin, but I've also lost another best friend of mine within the last 5 months. So, but this one was not anywhere near, neither one of them are expected, but this was traumatic. But the thing that I want you guys to really understand about Kevin and my desires, you know, helping Kevin all I could in the early days of this growth, this attainment from where he started to where he's at, building this channel up. He was the person that, you know, people talk about his vision. He had a vision. He watched everybody. He wanted to bring a community together of gentlemen and men together that could make a difference. And his North Star was to bring families together. You know, you watch his show, it's what he wanted. He wanted us all to have community. He wanted to get rid of the vitriol. He grew up, and I grew up similarly. And we talked about that so much, and how we wanted to have something different for our friends and our family members, and to see what could be better for the community at large. And he was a large presence. I mean, when I met Kevin, he was a large presence, and what you saw on TV or what you saw on YouTube was just who he was. He was confident, you know, he was commanding, he was a visionary, he was a leader. He just would step to the front, but he was also uplifting, you know. He was just a humble guy, to be honest with you. You know, you may take that he was, you know, being a leader and being commanding, but people still have to be humble. And Kevin was humble. You know, he had people walk to him on the street and would greet him. He'd call me and tell me, man, they stopped the guy stopped in the street to come meet me. I just can't believe that. I'm just a guy from Oklahoma City. I'm just a regular guy. Why? It can't just be me. It's something bigger than me. But I got to keep doing the work. And I think that's the thing he wanted. He was desperately trying to get out there. First talking to men, second talking to women, but really just talking to us all. You know, he told us all, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman. He said, do the work. You listen to his channel, you watch his videos. He says it all the time, do the work. And so he wanted to make sure the work got done. He wanted you to know he was just a regular guy. He wasn't spit polished all the time. You know, he wasn't his best when he started on YouTube. He was just a guy who wanted to say something and found a lane to say it in. And once he found it, it felt right. And he always wanted to make sure that whatever he did it for the right reasons. There was the show Kevin, and then there was the man Kevin. And the man Kevin was a young man that started in Oklahoma City, you know, raised by his mom, you know, also raised by his aunts and his grandparents. You know, his sphere of influence was his grandfather. The greatest man in his life would have been his grandfather that helped him mold him. And his mom told me just the other day, you know, his grandfather always told him, you know, wherever you go, you belong. And actually, he made a video about that same statement. You belong. And no matter where you're at, don't be ashamed. Don't bow your head. Don't look down the floor. Keep your head up. Walk with pride. And to keep your head up. And when this happened, you know, I was always helping him to keep his North Star true. And he didn't want to believe the truth that he was a superstar on the internet. He didn't want to believe that the 1 million followers really meant something. He didn't want to believe that the 1 million subscribers on Instagram was him. He would always humble himself. Kevin was afraid of heights, and I think he was afraid of the height. He didn't want to look at the height that he was flying at. And I'd have to remind him. I said, man, but you are a superstar. This is reality for you now. And people are counting on you to lead them and give them a hope of being better. And that has been something he strived every day to do. He worked tirelessly. If you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to be like Kevin Samuels, you want to be the next Kevin Samuels, you better be ready. That brother worked 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. He never, ever slept. 3 hours a day is when he slept. I'm a testament to that. I watched it. I saw it. Long before he became the famous Kevin Samuels online, he was sleeping 3 hours a day. When he became the famous Kevin Samuels online, he was sleeping 3 hours a day. He loved everyone. He loved you. He loved me. He loved us all. And he gave his life for the work. He said it all the time. I'm doing this for the work, for the love of the people. And he wanted to make this channel, but he wanted to make the manosphere. He wanted to make families better. He wanted to make men better. He wanted fathers better. But you know what? He wanted women better. He wanted mothers better. He wanted kids better. He wanted the community better. He wanted the Black community to be greater than what it's ever been. We lived in Oklahoma. We knew the stories of Black Wall Street, what Tulsa used to have. But why couldn't that be today? Why can't that be in America, in every city? Because the resources are there, the internet is there. What you just saw was a collection of guys that he wanted to work with. I can't remember who it was a second ago, but he talked about the Avengers. Think of Kevin Samuels. He was like Nick Fury. Truthfully, he talked about he was a Marvel fan, and he loved comic books growing up. But he was like Nick Fury. He was bringing the Avengers together. He was bringing some guys together individually that were strong, but together they were going to be mighty. And we talked about that. This was an evolution of what's to come. And thank God he brought a few together that can now bring a few more together, that can now build a legacy. Kevin's taught us all something. He always taught me something. We went round and round a number of days, but he's taught us all something. And if he's taught you something, take what he taught you and do the work for what he taught you. I'm doing the work. I'm gonna take what he taught me. It's been a tough day, week and a half for me. Quite honestly, it's been a tough day for his family. That was my brother. That is my brother's my brother. And as in the movie they say, I'm my brother's keeper. So I'm keeping my brother's name alive. I'm keeping his vision alive. I'm doing everything I can to keep what he wanted surviving. And if you can do the same thing, don't give up. He didn't want you to give up. He didn't want me to give up. He didn't want any of us to give up. He wanted us all to be better individually, but better together. So this celebration today is a recognition of what he's brought together as a great man. The greatness will live on. His words will inspire us. He'll inspire us today, tomorrow, and years to come. But please don't be sad completely, because he doesn't want us to be sad. He wants us to just, like he said, get on, be amongst the people, come together, lock arms, and do the work. As he would say, do the freaking work. So I just thank you guys. This has been a tremendous tribute to Kevin. There's more to come, I know, but I just want to step in here and say just a brief word. I say brief. I talked for quite a few minutes now, but I just want you to know he loved us all. He loved you guys, his fans, the community. And if at any point you feel like he wronged you in any way, it wasn't malicious. Trust me. He truly wanted to help everybody he talked to. There was no maliciousness in his heart. If he talked to you, he wanted to help you. So if you took it maliciously, just know it wasn't his intent. He wanted to be a beacon of light because he wanted you to be a beacon of light to the people you know and love. Because he didn't know a lot of people he talked to on the internet, but he wanted you to be a caring soul, because he was a caring soul. He was raised to be a caring soul, so he wanted everybody to be the same way. And with that, I just want to say thank you all. Stay blessed. Keep his legacy going, and know that we're never going to forget this brother, because he made an impact in my life as a best friend to me. I was a best friend to him, and we're going to make sure, no matter what, he continues to thrive in perpetuity and eternity with what all that he's built for us on the internet. Thanks, Dennis. Your microphone.
Hey, Jeff, I want you to hang in there for a minute. I have a very, very special guest on the phone, a person who you know very well, and who I've gotten to know. And this is Miss Beverly. This is Kevin Samuels' mother. Miss Beverly, it's Jeff and I here. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. You have about 5,000 people listening to your voice now, and plus me and Jeff. And
Okay.
I wanted to just give you the microphone, or give you the floor if you wanted to speak to his fan base. These are the ones that love him and appreciate him, and I'm sure you could bring them great healing if you would talk to them. And the floor is yours, ma'am.
Okay. First, I want to say giving honor to God, because He is the head of our family. And then I want to give thanks to the first responders. Whenever he got ready to call his mother, I'd be so asleep, and the phone would ring, "Mom," and I'm going to hurt you. But then, on the other hand, the other people who talk about money, love is not about money. Kevin had a beautiful heart. He loves his family, and we will always cherish that. And I thank you all for getting this together for me and the family. His aunt is sitting here right next to me. She, Lord, that was her baby. And I just thank you guys, all of you, and all of the beautiful things that you have been saying about my child. It really made my day. I'm still reading some of the comments. And I was kind of sad today, but after looking and listening, thank you all. Thank you so much. And God bless.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Beverly. And I appreciate you. Jeff, thank you so much. We got something special coming up. And Ms. Beverly, if you can hang around and take a look at something, I think you're really going to enjoy this. Let's hit the KS button first. And everybody type in Miss Beverly. Just type in Miss Beverly for me, please. Just do that. Those of you guys who are challenged, phonically challenged, you'll figure it out. Do the best you can. But funny thing, I learned something from Jeff that I didn't know. You didn't know that Kevin was famous. Is this true? Ms. Beverly?
Yes.
You didn't know that Kevin
Hello?
was Jeff let me know that you didn't know that Kevin was famous. Can you tell us about how you found out your son was famous?
I still don't believe it. He used to say, "Mom, you just don't know some things." And I would tell him, "You just giving to me. I'm just mom." And I really don't know. I really did not know just what was happening in his life, because he was just my baby. You know, he was just my baby.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, I just really can't hardly breathe right now. But Jeff, please remind me, because Jeff is my rock. He is my rock. I just don't know what I would have done without Jeff. I just don't know. I love you so much, baby. I love you so much.
I love you too. I love you too.
All right, I got some windy. It's got some wind in here. There's a lot of wind blowing in here, and let me thank you
I
so
just
much,
love,
Miss Beverly. I appreciate you, and
I thank all the good, great comments that everybody's calling me mom, and oh, it just means so much, so much. I just don't have the words to say. Just don't have the words to say.
yeah.
But thank you all.
Thank you, Miss Beverly. You have a blessed day, and you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And we appreciate all that you've done, your grace, your character, just the person that you are. You know, having got to know you, unfortunately, over the past week, I hold you in the highest regard. We need more women like you, not just Black women, but women like you. You are a wonderful woman. You raised a brilliant, outspoken, courageous son who was willing to go against the world to make change because he wanted to save his people. He wanted his people to be better. And he was unafraid to speak to the ladies who a
I,
lot of
I,
people were afraid to speak to. And we just thank you for that courage.
I thank you. I just want to say to all mothers and fathers, love your children, regardless what.
Absolutely.
Don't want anybody to have to feel. Love you, baby. Good or bad.
Yes, ma'am.
Because when they're gone, it's too late. It is too late, and I'm so glad. I'm so thankful. Every time I talk to my child, he said, Mom, I love you. I love you, Mom. And we never hung up the phone without saying, I love you. And the text, I love you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mothers, you don't want this heartache. You don't want this heartache. Fathers, you don't want it either. But I'm so glad I have people that I can lean on. I'm so glad, Jeff, I can lean on you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We'll
Oh,
take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thank you all. There's no more words for that. We appreciate you, Kevin. This is from my family to yours, to you. Thank you. And you've done so much for our family. You've introduced me to this beautiful woman who's soon to be my wife. She shot her shot. She got that significant character. Significant character. And so many of these little catchphrases.
Yes. I was actually listening to that broadcast with you three with Obsidian.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, let me go back to the Facebook group.
Which one was it? The shoot the shot video? And the thing is, you know, her family has many roots. And so I was looking at her. I'm just check this out. Oh, yeah, baby. I won't break it. Woo! This is the Ooh collection?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it is
Thank you.
I was
It's
thinking
been a good day.
sons of all of them, like, what's the
This is the ginger one. Rust. Pink. I think that's new. Amber. Oh. Yeah. You can give it a shout out. You can give it a shout out next time you do the show. Give it a shout out.
I'm gonna get
Oud collection, one of the best oud collections in the world, and nobody really knows about this. I didn't talk about it. Told you. I've been picking out the fragrances. Thank you, guys. Thank you, sir. Cool.
So the year is 2017. I'm going through a really difficult divorce. And during that time, I was really focused on self-improvement. How can I improve myself both internally and externally? And so I went to YouTube, saw some videos, and then I saw Kevin, and I watched a lot of his videos. He was really big into, being an image consultant and helping you with your image and doing fragrance reviews. But one thing I noticed is that he talked about getting therapy a lot and that he had gone to therapy. And that's something that I wasn't really interested in. I didn't think I needed therapy. I thought therapy was only for broken people and I was fine, or so I thought. I wasn't getting the outcomes that I really wanted. So I knew something had to change. And Kevin he has a great way of being a mirror and reflecting who you are. I went to therapy and I didn't realize how much I needed it until I got into it. As a result of therapy, I'm a much better man, better father, better friend, better colleague. If I ever get married again, I know I'm going to be a better husband. And because that goes to one thing that will always stick with me from what Kevin said, and that was the people around you will benefit most once you decide to be the best version of yourself. And that will stick with me forever. That's my story. That's how Kevin changed my life, because therapy changed my life. And I never would have went to therapy if it weren't from him, always advocating for it.
Shout out to Kevin Samuels, the most important voice in Black America in the last 50 years. Thank you. Because of you, this past year, I've lost 60 pounds. I joined a boxing gym. I actually bought my very first book in the San Francisco airport. I even picked up some signature scents thinking about you, man. I got the Aqua de Gio and got the Blue de Chanel. Also changed up a little bit of my wardrobe, and starting Monday, I actually hired for the first time ever a personal trainer, and also for the first time I jumped on Patreon to give back. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you for what you've done. I appreciate all your advice, and hope to keep your spirit alive. We will win on the optics and the emotions. Thanks.
Kevin helped me understand my value as a Black man. He also equipped me with tools on how to properly vet a potential wife. He taught me how important it is for Black men to take control of our image. Kevin Samuels was the blueprint for becoming the best version of yourself, all while remaining confident, intelligent, and assertive. Kevin started a much needed conversation within the Black community, and it took the world by storm. Kevin will be dearly missed, and may he continue to rest in peace.
In honor of Kevin Samuels, I just want to share how much I truly appreciated his content My husband and I have been married for 17 years. We have 4 daughters. And about 10 months ago, my husband introduced me to Kev's page. And like most in the beginning, it was hard for me to stomach his delivery. But once I actually started listening to his videos from beginning to end, I understood the message that he was trying to relay. I consider myself a good mom and a good wife prior to listening to his content, but his content really challenged me to be a better mom and a better wife. He also really emphasized teaching my daughters how to be good wives, not just through my actions, but also speaking to them, and then also prioritizing their career, not their career, I'm sorry, prioritizing family over career. And I really appreciated that. Yeah, so just wanted to share a little bit and just want to say, Kev, I appreciate you and you're truly be missed.
First, I want to offer my condolences to Mr. Kevin Samuels' family, friends, mentors, mentees, associates, everybody who is feeling the tremendous loss that, that we all are. Also, thank you, Mr. Sperling, for all you're doing. I know it can't be easy. Thank you for helping keeping the legacy alive, helping protect our Godfather. Thank you very much for what you're doing. Mr. Kevin Samuels helped me take an honest assessment of where I was at, what I needed to do in order to get to where I wanted to go. And I wish I would have known these things 15 years ago, but better late than never. And the changes I've been able to make in a couple of short years due to his teachings have been monumental. Impact-wise, it's not even fathomable the amount of lives he's helped change. I mean, myself can pass these teachings immediately. I already have right now onto my teenage boys who are eventually going to grow into young Black men who can take these things and help them become high value, contributing, successful people, and just the domino effect of the people I've shared his teachings with, who my kids will teach his teachings to. It's just, there's no doubt in my mind that he's helped change millions of lives for the better. And, his legacy lives within all of us. Now, I do plan on making a longer video because there's no way I can sum up how much this man has done for me in a couple of short years. But I just, I wanted to send this quick video off to just pay my respects and thank Mr. Samuels for everything he's done. So thank you guys. I love everybody.
One of the many messages I learned from Brother Kevin Samuels is to be the best version of yourself. If you know you got something going on, if you got issues that need to be addressed, get help, whether it be therapy or, like in my case, I hired a life coach. I spent the money. I invested in myself. It's been a great help, and I wouldn't have never done that if I hadn't heard it from somebody who looked like me. I did have a father in my life, but he worked so much like many of our fathers that there was a void. Kevin filled that void. I'll be eternally grateful for Kevin Samuels, eternally grateful for the sacrifice the family gave, for giving him to us. And I just want to thank you all, say God bless, and just know that he meant a lot to a lot of us. And it was just a short time, but the lasting effects are going to be forever. Thank you so much.
Kevin Samuels, you came into my life a little over a year ago when I started watching your content, and you were that father figure that I never had growing up. I grew up just like you. Single mother raised, middle class household. Papa was a Rolling Stone. He wasn't really there. I had to learn a lot of things on my own, and come to find out I was so behind in life until I came into your content. You have taught me so much about adulthood, manhood, leveling up, high value men. And listen, Kevin Samuels, I have leveled up so much in life to say I'm only 21 years old due to your content, due to everything that you have taught me. And I promise you, I will be a high value man in years to come, thanks to you, the Godfather. Kevin, we love you. I love you. And everything that you have taught me, I will instill it into my children, my little cousins, and any young man that I see that needs help and guidance growing up, Kevin, I thank you because you instilled that into me, and I'm going to take that and instill it into someone else. Thank you. Love you, Kevin.
Kevin Samuels is one of a kind, and he spoke about so many things in his monologues, but some of the key points I took away from him were that to be the best version of yourself, how to dress better, how to value people and relationships, and that image does matter. And I think the most important one of those things were that life is about people, because he often said that. And that was something I never really understood before. But I think that's the special thing about Kevin, is he'd make you laugh and he'd make you think. And in the process, he actually expanded my narrow view of the world. And I just wanted to say thank you, Kevin. And I won't forget these lessons. Rest easy, Godfather.
43. Man, real mixed emotions right now. All I can say is greatest that did it. The first man that actually spoke what we men have been feeling, but didn't have the galls to say. He was the one that actually took it to that level, man. And he just didn't talk, you know what I mean? This is a subject Kevin studied, you know what I'm saying? Because I see a lot of people talking about, you know, his failed marriages and blase. And all I got to say to that man is, you know, look, the man studied the subject. The man said true. It hurts. I'm one that I can definitely tell you, truth hurts. But all I'm going to say is definitely going to be missed, brother. Rest easy. See you next life cycle.
Despite what the narrative is purported to be, I believe that Kevin Samuels had such a positive impact on the community as a whole. He strived and preached for everyone to be the best version of themselves, for each other, for their children. And I believe that the positivity of the message that he left, even though it was a tough love delivery at times, was for the benefit of the community and the recipients who cared enough to listen to his message, myself being one of them. I really hope that even in his passing, that his message continues to bring positive change to the persons who listen to it. Sorry for the loss.
My name is Rada from South Florida, and I just wanted to give my incredible gratitude to Mr. Kevin Samuels for his unbelievable work that he's done all his life, but especially these last few years. I found him a little over a year ago, and I went on a binge of about 3 years worth of content within a few months. He changed my life. He saved my marriage. I did a video last year that he actually shared on his channel. And I've loved my husband since we were 14 years old. When we started out, he was only making $28,000, but he made it happen for me to be able to stay home the last 20 plus years and raise our 4 amazing children. In the last few years, he's been building himself up. He makes over 6 figures. God bless him. And Mr. Samuel's teachings were very important for me to understand how to handle a high value man, how to treat him, how to be a better wife, a better mother, a better person, and how to deal with all the women with the attention. He was already handsome and a bodybuilder, but now he had the money too. So it was very, very crucial. I was having like a midlife crisis, and I needed the knowledge that I got from Mr. Samuels. It tremendously helped me. It helped me realize how valuable he was and how much I owe him everything for sacrificing his whole life for me and for the children. I love him so much. I said, go to Colombia and enjoy yourself. And he said, honey, you're my Colombia. And he took me to the Keys and we had an amazing time. And, so I'm just so grateful, and to his mother and to his daughter. I'm so sorry for your loss. There's only one Godfather. He's irreplaceable. His friends and family, my prayers and healing to you all. And I just want to say how thankful I am for the saint Kevin Samuels. Amen. Ciao.
From a 67-year-old OG, just want to say, gonna miss you, Kevin, but your message will go on. Not only by me, but by my 25-year-old daughter. Appreciate it, bro.
I just wanted to give a couple of words about how
Kevin helped me with some of his insights. He did a stream earlier this year where he was talking to men, and he was talking to a guy who was 33 years old, and he was saying that he wanted to know how to get women in his life and how he could eventually find a wife. And he kept stressing to the guy, well, you're 33, you don't really have your money up like that, so no women are going to really want you. You got to get your life in order before you can expect to bring women in. And that really hit me because I think I'm doing pretty well at the age that I'm at, but I've always been doing better. And it really caused me to look at where I'm at and make a commitment to double down on the efforts I was putting in. And as a result of that, I've been making between $5,000 to $6,000 for the last 4 months, solely because I really got on my grind. I looked at what I could be doing better, and I put it to work. And it's not that I wasn't on my grind before, but Kevin really had a lot of good messages out there, both for women and men, but specifically for men, on how you need to show up as a man in your life in order to get the results that you want, get the women you want, and get the kind of money that you need to really live that successful lifestyle. And I wish there was going to be more content of his putting out, but he's got such a big catalog of stuff that is going to be immensely helpful for any guy that wants to check through and watch it. So much respect to him, much respect to the message he put out there. And I hope guys that are just coming to his content, don't listen to everybody out there saying, oh my God, he said all this stuff. Really listen to the messages, see what he was really passionate about, and follow that. And you'll be well on your way to being as successful as he was. Rest in peace.
Kevin Holmes here from Minneapolis, Minnesota. For the past year, Kevin Samuels taught me more masculine common core values to have as a man than my poor single mother ever could teach me. I didn't have a father growing up because my mom divorced him when I was in first grade due to him being an alcoholic. I didn't have any brothers or many other people I could go to and talk about things that Kevin Samuels explained to me clearly. His brilliance didn't just relate and have an impact on the Black community, but to all communities. It's disappointing that Kevin's candidness was interpreted as misogyny and hate when it was his attempt to bridge back together.
We use a lot of his content that he created to have discussions. Every time he would go live, we would watch the videos, and she'd come and she'd ask questions and try to get my perspective on things. Some things I agreed with Kevin with, other things I didn't. But we never got into arguments or fights or anything about the subject matter. If anything, it made us come closer together, and it helped both of us to realize that there was more that I needed to be doing as a man. Like he said, put in your hours, always constantly trying to improve. And I'm sure for her, it helped her to understand men more than what she had previously known. And I can't thank the work that he did enough, because it created a bond, well, it helped create a bond between both of us that I don't think will ever be broken. Every single day, we continue to just love each other and to help build each other up.
And I would just like to say that we definitely received a very humbling message from Kevin. When we met, I actually had a child prior to our relationship. So it was a lot of learning that I got from him, and we're building up our family. We just had a beautiful baby girl together. I am actually from Ohio, and he was in Florida when we met. And so now we're living together in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I mean, this, I believe wholeheartedly, is a work from Kevin, that we were successful and we're engaged now. So life is really beautiful, and just thank you so much, Kevin. Rest in peace. You will be missed.
My testimony to you, Mr. Kevin Samuels, aka the Godfather. I was truly inspired by, the display of one hell of a work ethic, man. You know what I mean? You came in, if being on your purpose was a person, you nailed that, my guy. You pretty much held everybody to task, man, kind of, bridge that gap between us men and women, and basically was the 5-star general of the gender war that's going on out here, man, and you pretty much put everything in perspective, man. I'm truly inspired by that. It's not gonna be the same without you, but at the same time, you left us a manuscript that we can, get back to business with. I thank you for showing us what it's like for men to be men, and the unapologetic masculinity that you displayed. It's a model for a lot of us to follow. And from one Navy veteran to another, I salute you, sir. And gotta take it for a moment there, man. See you on the other side. Rest in peace.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Mark. This is my wife, Liz.
Hi.
And we're making this video especially for Kevin's mom, daughter, friends, and all the people who had the opportunity to be blessed with his presence. Over the years I've watched Kevin, and Kevin has motivated me and given me courage to quit my job 2 years ago, started my own business, and now making 6 figures plus. He's also taught my wife
how to be more feminine and inspirational to my husband.
One of the biggest things we learned from it though is how much when we're apart, the impact that it has to our community. So I will tell you this, I will be doing my part to make sure that Kevin Samuel's name lives on and his work lives on. So if you think it's over, oh no, we're just getting started. Peace out.